What I have here today are two headphones from different manufacturers. These are Apple earbuds, a very standard one with a remote that you can push in to play pause and then toggle the volume, but also that's the number over here. I have a Samsung headphones that also have a remote like that, and it's over here. Here is a play, pause, and changing the volume. The main difference between those, they are not compatible with each other, even though they have exactly the same connector, the jack connector. And the what's interesting, the play pause button is identical between them, but they won't work with each other considering the volume change. But the microphone will still work. So let me explain a little bit. We won't be focusing on the Apple headphones here because they have their own microchip that communicates with the iPhone and probably Mac books too, and other Apple devices, and it's a proprietary chip as far as I know. I did a little bit of research, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Then that's why you don't get those headsets from other brands, and those are very popular headphones in terms of Android users, but what I mean here, it won't work with every Android because this is not standardized. A lot of manufacturers take this format and it will work with most of the Samsung devices, but don't expect other brands like Xiaomi, the Chinese cell phone brand, to incorporate exactly the same standard. I tested with several phones. It isn't true that it will work with all Android phones. So let me explain a little bit what's the pinout here between those, and why the play pause button and the microphone work for both of those headphones, and why other buttons doesn't. So here's a sample of the jack connector, the full pole one, and what you can see here that you have four connections basically. This is a left channel, this is a right channel. In this instance, this is ground, and that would be also the last connection before the end. That would be the sleeve one. But if you have a 4-pole connector, this is a microphone. And also, let me just make a quick connection here and show you something. For all, apart from being the microphone, so apart from that, for all devices, it basically is standardized that also if you want to press play pause on your remote, you will have to have a switch over here. So let me draw this in. So we have a switch over here. This is a play pause button, something like that. And this is common for iPhone and Android. So here they are doing something much more simpler. And let me expand this a little bit. So let's have a connection over here. So there are still switches over here. And let me draw 3 switches actually, because Android by default supports a lot more connections. So basically here you are bridging to ground the microphone input, and here are bridging to ground but over our resistors. Here there are that's a volume plus, that's a volume minus, and this is a voice command. So basically the button that would turn on your Google Assistant or whatever assistant you have set up on your phone. And for those headphones, that there is no voice command button. That's why I draw 4 switches instead of 3 we have here. And let me show you exactly how does this work if you measure the resistance. Okay, so I have a remote over here, and let me start pressing the buttons. First play pause, so it's almost nothing, 2 ohms. Now volume, here is a volume down, and that's almost the same. That I guess there is quite a lot of tolerance here, and volume up. And here I have volume up. Quite a bit of tolerance. It's interesting that it's far more closer to voice command. But maybe I have my results skewed because of the other resistances in between. So this is what the documentation says, those values. So, but this is how I measured that. So we have 442 ohms for a volume minus, 174 ohms for a volume plus. So that would be this one. It's not really 240. And let me simulate the last button on my phone. Let me explain the setup a little bit, because I'm connecting here to the between those 2 points, and I have a splitter over here and so on. It may be a little bit complicated, but all you have to know is between the sleeve over here and this one, there is a connection to the microphone. So I have prepared some 120 ohm resistors. Let me connect that and show you that should be in range of the voice command button. So let me show this. As you can see, yeah, that's a voice command button. And now the 360 resistor, that's a volume plus button. As you should be able to see just here, that's a key code volume up, and I just took one of the resistors, 681, and here we have a volume down button. So the range of those resistors is pretty high, and you don't have to go with the precise values over here. So that's really good for Android users. So you have a bit of range. If I short this out, that's a play pause button. So you should be able to see this too, as you can see here. Here I have a very simple schematic of the headset itself. So, and that also includes the value. So we have a left speaker, right speaker, microphone, and here are the resistors. Here are the 4 switches. And those are the values. On red what worked for me just fine, on the green what I found in the documentation. The values from my measurements were very close to those green ones. Well, fairly close considering all of this, but that would work for you just fine. These are the standard resistor values that you can buy off shelf and use this, but keep in mind that there may be some kind of variation between phone models and so on, because it depends on the hardware implementation of the phone manufacturer, and those are very finicky, and it may work on one Samsung with those values and not on the other. For me it works on a BlackBerry Key 2 just fine. So I would be able to create a remote in future or some kind of other things. What I miss here in this specifications is simply a mute button, because I would love to have a software mute button for all my communicators that I use, or the calls I have, because you don't, even if you talk with someone over the phone, you don't always want them to hear everything that you're doing, because you may make some noise, and it can be really annoying for the other person. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time.